Okay, hello everyone, and today I thought I'm gonna show you how I play with these three instruments, or how I use them to organize my projects and tracks, and how I would go about it. Yeah, it might seem that this is the centerpiece, but actually I have each individual instrument here, Digitakt and Digitone. I have it on a separate sequencing duty. So this one here is controlling all the monosynths for various reasons, but one is that this only can sequence 4 notes per step. And so for polyphonic synths, that's not enough. And and it also can sequence 8 different MIDI channels at the same time. So that's plenty for your average monosynths, of which you will probably have more than polysynths. So, and this one here actually has an arpeggiator. It's by default in a piano mode, and you can sequence 4 MIDI tracks, and you can have more notes per step. So that helps a lot. And also, the Octatrack has 8 MIDI tracks as well, but also just 4 notes per step. And well, it has an arpeggiator. This doesn't, which is unfortunate. I hope they add that in someday, but I doubt it. And it's not a big deal breaker. I mean, yeah. Okay, back to this. The reason I'm not using this for sequencing is because it also has just 4 notes per track, and you cannot change multiple steps at the same time. On the more modern machines here, you can hold down multiple steps, change a value, and it's locked. Here, I would have to go change this, and so on. That's especially annoying if you work with chords and you just thought like, okay, I want to have a different progression, and then you have like, I don't know, 4 pages long of steps, and you have to change everything manually. It's And another thing that's annoying is that they don't have overdubbing. That means it's at its core, it's just a step sequencer, all of them. So it's you want to get it right the first time, basically. If you don't, then you could face a lot of manual editing here on this machine, and it's just annoying. This one is more flexible. I can just copy stuff back and forth, and yeah, that's why. So this is just for mixing and general arrangement. Yeah. So I use it to mangle audio. I feed in synthesizers here that I want to do stuff with. But it also provides the structure of the track because it has an arranger mode, and it's very flexible in that. And okay, I'm going to show you how I use them all together. So since I'm not sequencing here, I need to know which, or this main project here needs to know which sequence should be played here and there. And the great thing about these two is that they both can store their instruments per pattern, and also loads of other stuff. So basically you have a complete entire project per pattern, if you will. Yeah, you share the same sample pool and stuff, same sounds here, but it can be completely different on the next pattern or next bank or whatever. Here, it's patterns are just notes, and you got parts here and banks, so it's a bit different. But we don't need to worry about this at this point. So what you can do, or how I do it now, is just sending program changes to either of these machines. We have this special duty, right? Polyphonic, monophonic stuff does beats. It's a drum machine for me, basically. And this one does the melodic stuff, has an FM synthesizer, and allows me to control up to 4 polyphonic synthesizers. For example, out here in the shot, you cannot see it. I got the Novation Peak, and I'm going to get a Prophet next. So this will be perfect for it. That means I have 3 polyphonic synths that are connected here that I could then sequence individually from this side, and beats and mono bass lines here. And here it all comes together. So, okay, how you set that up? And that's actually why I wanted to make this video, because yeah, you might be interested in this as well. So let's go and create a new project here. And I do have a little camera here that I will show you the details of these settings as soon as we get there. So I'm gonna make a new project here. Let me quickly save what's currently on. Okay, project, load project, and create new. Project, load project, create new. All right, so we got empty projects on all three now. So first thing I do is I go into the MIDI settings, activate transport, send, and clock send, and most importantly, program CH. That's let me show you here. Program change send is important, and then you go down and go to 16. That's my channel that I use, because all the other instruments I know that I cannot or shouldn't use channel 16 for them, and that's not the case that I have that many yet. So it all works on one connection. They're all daisy chained via MIDI. So yeah, and that's those settings. And now I have to go on the other ones. And let me show this here. Oops. So settings, and then we go in, can you focus? Okay. MIDI config. Whoops. Then sync, clock receive, and also clock send, because it should relay the clock that it receives from the Octatrack to the other machines, whatever it may be. For example, I have a 303 up there, and so that sequencer starts as well as soon as this starts, which is initiated by the Octatrack. So okay, program, change, receive. Okay, but that's not all. You got to go to channels, and what I also do on new projects is disable all these channels that I don't use. But yeah, that's just one thing I could do. Okay, so focus. Okay, right here, program change in channel, and that's got to be 16 as well. Oh, FX control off. Don't need that. Don't need any of those. Don't need that either. Okay. So yeah, that's just me, because I don't use I don't trigger them individually from the Octatrack. It's a sequencer on here that's powerful enough to do this. So all right. Then we got down here program out channel. I usually don't configure it because yeah, it's not necessary. All right, and basically it's the same on this side. So go here, settings. Kind of hard to do this with the left. Clock send. That means on the Novation peak, I can use the LFO sync feature, proc change receive, channels, whoop, all the way down, in channel to 16, boom, that's it. All right, now, when I press start, they all run together. As you can see, let me quickly disable the camera. Whoop. Okay, so they all now run in sync. That's great. So currently we're on A1, and here is also pattern A1, and here as well. A is for bank. In this case here, it's bank 1 is bank A, and pattern 1. And same as here, we've got bank 1, pattern 1. Okay, so the thing is now, when I start, I can, I don't know, set things up here from the sounds, and I can start playing some sounds here, left and right. And now when I change the pattern, it also changed here and it changed there. As you can see, here. It's now on A2. And when I change here to A3, and so on. Now I can change the bank to something completely different, C1, and so on. So this provides the clock for everything, yeah, changes the programs on these two machines. So that means that they are both can do whatever they are good at. For example, making drums and playing monosynths. This does polyphonic stuff. So they're both left to their own task without becoming useless just because I have the Octatrack. And also, as I mentioned earlier, the Octatrack sequencer is good, but not good enough. So I would not use it to sequence all gear with it. I think the best combination, if you don't want all of this, is to get the Octatrack and the Digitone. Because here you got a comparable sequencer to this one here in terms of MIDI. You just got 8 channels, you got 8 channels, 4 notes only, 4 notes only. And here you got a, you got the polyphonic version basically. And so yeah, that would be a great combination. But of course, more is better. But yeah, that's up to you. This does mono samples. This is also very fast at sampling, so that's something to consider. This does stereo, but it's a bit more tricky to set up. So yeah, for me, they all have their own individual tasks. Mono samples, stereo samples, synthesizers. Okay, so yeah, that's how I play and how I set up these things. Now, the rest comes down to method, like how you want to do it. For example, you could say, okay, I want to make my I want to have 4 tracks or 4 beats with 4 variations each on one bank. So that works on an Octatrack because you have parts here. You got 4 individual parts. And I could say like, this is part 1, these 4 patterns. This is part 2, 4 patterns, part 3, part 4. And then I would have 4 completely different configured and instrumented tracks or beats on one single bank. And I got 16 banks at my disposal. So I could load this thing up with an entire album, if you will. And still have enough MIDI channels left and right to do various things. So that's if you want to use parts. But know this, you don't need to use the parts if you find that too complicated, or you want to say like, oh, but I want to do more than 4 variations of a beat. Then of course you're free to just use banks, because parts are linked to banks. So if you change from one bank to another, you get a clean new part that you can change to use different sample slots without affecting the previous bank. For example, bank 1, bank 2 can be completely different. So that means if you don't want to go this deep with using parts, you can just change the bank, program a beat, change to another, and these will follow along. And as I said earlier, they save the instrumentation to each pattern. The kit, as I like to call it, is saved with the pattern. So wherever you may be here and how you organize your tracks on the Octatrack, these will be ready and available in a fresh state every time you change to a new pattern or bank. All right, so yeah, that's how I play, that's how I work, yeah, that's why they're a keeper. And they don't get obsolete that quick. I mean, Octatrack is, I said it yesterday, it's a Swiss Army knife, and you will find a use for it. Even though it may not be obvious or immediate to you, there's always something you can do with it that it remains a prime spot in your studio setup. Okay, Yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you found this interesting. I'm gonna make some music now and maybe post a jam later. I don't know. Also, there's this Focus February currently going on that I'm participating. I'm still hoping to see more people jumping in on this. And yeah, I'm watching Instagram and YouTube closely to see if there's any updates to it. And other than that, I'm off to making music. Maybe I'll do some Sunday dub session again. I don't know what kind of vibe I'm at, but I feel kind of energetic, so I probably will do something more upbeat today. So I don't know. Thanks for watching again. See you in the next one. And yeah, have a good one.